Ta-dum! Hello, hello. Once again, welcome to another time lapse here on my channel. This one's a little late. I think I finished this 2 weeks ago. Eh? This is Evangelion, Asuka from Evangelion, and Unit 2 in the background there. This one was a lot of fun, but I really struggled with it. It's kind of been a while since I've been working on it, so it's a little. I kind of forgot what I wanted to talk about in this commentary, but I have some thoughts, so we'll get to those. It was really fun though. The overall idea is Asuka kind of she has a kind of intimidating pose. Hey, I wanted to make it feel like she was in control because she has that kind of, her character is, it's kind of like that, you know, self-important, really kind of haughty, like I'm in charge kind of thing. So I wanted to carry that in the pose as well. So I wanted to bring her leg directly up like that. And she's also kind of like unabashed, not self-conscious at all, at least not in an outward way. So I like the idea of having her foot lifted up like that. Unfortunately, that made it a little difficult because I don't really know how to draw the pelvis and kind of the connection of the leg to the pelvis from below. I really struggle with that. So kind of made it a little difficult in some places, but overall I think it was really fun. The other thing I really struggle with is kind of the mech design aspect of Unit 2's face there. What I mean by that is like all the different planes of the kind of metal plating and different ridges and, you know, up and down different shapes that kind of create the cool look that he has on his face. It's hard to explain unless you really look at the design itself. So maybe give it a Google if you don't know. But I really struggled with that. That was the thing I struggled with the most with this one. We'll get to that a little later in the time lapse as it comes up. But yeah, since it's been a while, I don't really have a lot to talk about here. I think what I'll do going forward is I'll try and take notes, maybe while I'm drawing a piece, and then also kind of right when I finish it, I want to sit down and think about kind of what I want to talk about, what I learned, what I struggled with, things like that. Just different little anecdotes from each piece as I finish them while it's fresh in my mind, and that way I can do a nice commentary like that. So I don't really have too much to talk about here, but I do have, I kind of requisitioned some questions to kind of fill a bit of the time. These are just random questions that I'd like to talk more about in the future. One of them was, what's your opinion on AI, using AI as reference? I don't really know too much about that. I'd have to think about it more. I don't really have a take on AI, you know? But I think that's something I'd like to think about, maybe do like a full commentary kind of thinking about that sort of thing at some point. I don't know. AI is not really on my radar. I understand why people don't like it. I understand why people do like it. I don't know. I don't really have a position. So that's one question down. What's the next question? What else do we got here? What's the main points of the body you try and get down before anything else? Actually, this one was, it's actually a relevant question for this one. Because like I was saying, I really struggled with the pelvis. The main things that I like to do is I'll either start with, depending on the figure and kind of the angle, I like to start with either the head lately or mainly the torso. And then what's really been helping me lately is the shoulders as well. So the question, what's the main points of the body you try to get down before anything else? Lately, it's been the shoulders, funnily enough, because there's kind of an area at the top of the torso it's rather flat, and it's kind of where the neck sits. And I feel like it's also related to how the spine kind of comes down below. If you think about the spine running up into the neck, all of that is kind of contained in this kind of plane on the top of the torso where the shoulders are. I've really been having success in trying to clarify the shoulders earlier on in my figure drawing, I think. And similarly, the main thing I tried and get is honestly the torso and the pelvis. Pardon me. And so in this one in particular, the angle of this pelvis was really throwing me off. I think you may have noticed me, I'm not sure if I did it already, but there's a point where I shift kind of the entire upper body, and I kind of you shunt it over to the side a little bit, correcting the spine. Because it was hard for me. It felt like the character wasn't leaning forward enough. I think I might have already corrected it here. I kind of missed it. That was one of the things I wanted to mention. Maybe rewind if you want to see that. But the pelvis is very difficult for me to get with this kind of angle. I'm still really struggling with how I want to even think about the pelvis. I usually think about it as like a square that's kind of, like a cube, like a trapezoid kind of thing. And it's not always apparent where kind of the edges of that trapezoid are. So yeah, especially when I'm looking at it from below, because it's hard for me to think about where the legs connect at the bottom of the pelvis. From the top, I think it's okay, because you can kind of hide that, but the actual connection of like the bottom of the thigh kind of into the bum, kind of like those muscles, the glutes or whatever those muscles are called, the butt. I don't know how to do that sort of thing. I don't draw it very often, so it's very confusing. But yeah, so I was kind of rambling there, but I don't know what my answer is anymore. But anyway, let's go one more question here. And this one's really cool, actually. Do you consciously think about perspective a lot when you're sketching, or do you think more about it when you're doing the line art? So like, kind of like, when do you think about perspective? How do you think about perspective and stuff like that? The answer is, I really don't. Not until recently. Some of it might be intuitive. Like with this one, I really didn't consider perspective at all, honestly, to be frank. I just didn't. So some of it might be intuitive. Like I'm not consciously thinking about it, but the next piece that I did, which will be the next time lapse up on this channel, I did in fact think about perspective. And the reason for that is because, the reason I did on the next one and not this one is because I think it's one of the things that was kind of holding me back with this one. And just in general, thinking about different, not necessarily just perspective, but boy, how do I explain this? Well, actually, we're getting to the point where I was kind of struggling here when I'm drawing the mech face, hey? Thinking about all these different kind of planes of different kind of sheets of metal, and like there's parts that are raised and parts that are lower, like the eyes, they have that sort of cone. Wow, I'm really moving my canvas around a lot, hey? That's really annoying. But you know what I mean? Like the eyes, they're kind of like ice cream cones. And they're sticking out of the mech's face. Like they're emerging from the side of his head. That sort of thing it's not exactly related to perspective, but it's more related to thinking about the volume of things. Like how much space is there kind of that's emerging out? Like if you took a ruler and measured like the side of the mech's head, how much that cone of the eye is like coming out to the side, you know, that sort of thing. I don't really think about that sort of stuff enough. So that's kind of combined with perspective. Like how do I think more in terms of like shapes instead of lines is something that I've been thinking about lately, and mainly with this one, with this drawing. It kind of occurred to me like, yeah, I overthink about lines. I don't think enough about the actual shapes. And so part of the reason why I'm kind of laying in the base colors here is because it helps me think more in terms of shapes. You know what I mean? Like the volume of the hair and the kind of the different parts, separating them out in different colors like that. It helps me get a better sense of like the different planes of the metal on the mech's face. It was still really difficult. Like I don't know if I really fully understand it yet. It's going to take a lot for me to practice, but so yeah, that's a very rambling, completely unrelated answer to that question, but I don't know. I don't really know how much more I want to talk, hey? My mouth is getting dry. There's still a lot to go on this time lapse. Yeah, this one was a lot of fun. I want to get to this part though. Where is it? It's a little further ahead where there's a point where I'm working on the mech design, and I spent maybe half an hour drawing and then redrawing, erasing, trying again, you know, trying to get some cool shapes on the front of the mech's head there. And I was kind of drawing along with some reference, some official design sheet stuff, and I couldn't figure out how to how to add more detail basically to the mech design stuff. That was the number one issue I had here. And again, I think it's because I'm over focused on contour. And what I mean by that is like the outer edges of everything. I'm not necessarily thinking about the finger as like a cylinder right now. I'm just thinking about the outline of the fingers, right? Sometimes that's okay. Sometimes it's not. And when it comes to drawing the mech face, I'll get to it in a minute here, probably once I finish cleaning up Asuka. Boy, I'm really moving my canvas around a lot, hey? Isn't that annoying? I wish I would stop that. Anyway, once I get to the mech face, you'll realize kind of what I mean. Well, maybe. You'll see me struggling is what I want to say. And so, yeah. That's why, from this point on, from this drawing on, I've been trying to think more about shapes. So maybe look forward to that in the next time lapse, because you won't see it here. And this is where I'm still kind of struggling. I'm like, man, something is wrong. I can't figure out what it is. And I think I finally was able to put a finger on what it was with this piece, this Asuka piece here. I really, there's the fun alarm. Don't worry about that. I really spend a lot of my focus on contour instead of shape and form. And so, yeah, that's kind of what's on my mind lately. And I'm working to fix that. So since this is 2 weeks ago, I'm kind of out of date because I've already worked on it a little bit. And I could tell you now that it's working. I'm kind of getting a little better at that. So look forward to that in the future. Boy, I need to get these time lapses out in a more timely fashion, hey? Anyway, yeah, I think that's about it. I've been totally rambling, hey? So I'll mute myself here and play out some smooth jazz for the rest of this time lapse. So thanks for watching, everybody. This one was really fun. I really love Evangelion a lot, and I really love Asuka in particular. She's my favorite character, I think. I think her design is like one of those timeless, like when it comes to like anime characters, there's something like undeniable about Asuka's design, and just like the plug suit in general, it all really works together well. So yeah, thanks everybody. Some more fun alarm. I'll be back. I'll try and get the next time lapse out soon. I don't know. Whatever. It's out when it's out. So yeah, thanks again everybody, and I'll catch you in the next one, eh? Goodbye, 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 goodbye.